Good Voch. Living Nishmasim Mirosi, Rus Bas Mordechai. Rabbi say, it's Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos is a time that we could sing a niggin or two. And because of the matzav, what's going on, it's not pashut. I heard on Shabbos, I didn't hear after Shabbos, but I heard that a few missiles might have hit Tel Aviv, and somebody died in Ramat Gan. Is that true? I don't know. Anybody? It is true. So let's sing a niggin, but everybody, please join in. Even if you don't have a good voice, join in. Let's mamish, let's rip the shamayim. Vehi she'amda All right. Today's shir is sponsored by Fishel Gross, Refuah Shleima for Bryna, Yenta, Devora, and Avraham, Yosef, and Chana, and the Cholah Meron, and for the safety of all our chayalim guarding us. And by Hillel Abrahams, in honor of my wife, my Eshes Chayil, Yehudith, on our 34th anniversary. Hillel Abrahams. Also in honor of our brave brethren who are putting their lives on the line to keep us safe. May Hashem bless and protect them from harm. Your son is in Gaza? I mean, he's on the border? He's home? Yacov and Malka Slatus. Refuah Shleima for our son, Alta Yeshaya ben Malka Chaya. You should have a Refuah Shleima. Oh. Hayoim. Tisha v'arboim yoim sheheim shiva shavuos ba'omer eloimer. You know, I don't know. It's not a joke. Spontaneously, when I said it today, if you were in our outdoor minyan, I took a heter because it was outdoor morning. I go, wow, I did it. I can't believe it. Like, what, this is your first time? No, maybe the second or third. You know, the Gross says the hardest mitzvah in the world is keeping v'samachta b'chagecha, which is tomorrow night. I say at least the second hardest is doing the sphira. I mean, all 49 days, make it to minyan. Wow, it's crazy. Unbelievable. This is from Yossi Shasha. I met him in New York. A whole long thing. And he says, just at the end, I just want to write the last few lines. On a side note, I never thought I'd learn day in and day out. It's a struggle, but the satisfaction is worth it. I truly love the MDY family and feel connected to you, Reb Eli, and the team. I wish everyone a wonderful Chag Sameach, a healthy summer. Your Talmud, Yossi Shasha. From Naftali Weinberg. Good morning, Reb Eli. I didn't say this one, right? No. First off, I want to thank you for an amazing and insightful shir. I want to thank Reb Yankee Berman for introducing me to the shir. I hope since my move, we can start doing the daf together at 5:15 a.m. I don't know where you moved to, but okay. What? England? And then we have one from Reb Aaron Wasserman. A good Voch. Please do not read this email. I hope he's joking. First, I want to join the multitudes of people and thank you for your tremendous chiyus you bring to the daf. The only challenge I have is that maybe I should read this before I read it to you guys. I have it because I started listening to share on a regular basis and got hooked. It has taken away some of the amelos. As before, I was doing it and I only listened when I needed to catch up or used 8 minutes for chazara. However, it's given me a new charge to keep going, so thank you. You mentioned grandfather Mordechai Savitsky, and I realized we have a connection. First, your grandmother learned together with my grandfather. I was just laughing. They said, please do not read this email. You thought he would get me like that. Oh, it's like, I'm definitely going to do it. All right, so Nachamol. First, your grandfather learned together with my grandfather, Reb Moshe Shimon Bayarski, Zeichet Tzaddik V'roch in Radin. Okay, I know my grandfather learned in Radin, so they learned together. Second, my parents living in Boston for a few years. My father was a Maggid Shir by Reb Leib Hyman. Ooh, wow. My parents were very close to your grandparents. I mentioned to my mother last week that I was listening to your shir, your Enikol Remotcha, and she started reminiscing with tremendous Hakar Satoiv, Ayin Yisrael Wasserman, Denver, Colorado. Last but not least, this is titled, You Are Human. Dear Rebelli, I was very inspired by yesterday's shir. Apparently, you couldn't figure out Pshat, and you didn't make it through the daf. True. Thank you for showing us that you are human. I'm not just human, I'm a balabas. What do you expect from me? Shvachamais is here. Even with all of the preparation hours you spend, the messages, it's not always easy, even for you, but we keep trying. Okay, shkoyach. I also appreciate you didn't just fake your way through it and make it as if it was us who didn't understand it. I do that occasionally, but this was too tough. The other was on top of it already. I couldn't do it. Unless that's what you're trying to do and it wasn't working, so that part I edited out. I wasn't the last, I don't know. Have a good Shabbos and good Yontif. Aryeh Esterson, Rabbi Aryeh Esterson. Yishkoyach Rabbi Aryeh. All right. Huh? What happened there? Who took this off? You took it off? Next time, please ask. It was on Bedafka. I fixed it during Shachars. You didn't see? Oh, my gosh. All right, somebody help him out, please, because we're going to need it for sure. Bedafka took it, left it on. Okay. So let's do this. You have it or it's in the garbage? All right. We need to get new help, Bobby. Yeah. Wow. Okay. It says like this. Go help him out. David, go help him. We need a lot of help. We have like this. It says in the Pasuk, Ubir olea koyin eitzim baboiker baboiker. Oh. Gary's not here. Somebody's stepping in. Baruch Hashem. Gewaldig. Baboiker, baboiker. So he said, sit. That's Gary. We can mute the TV. Avi, just mute that TV. Here he is. Look at him. I don't see. Look at him. He's loving it. He loves every second. All right. It says baboiker. These words are completely extra. Why? Because we know that putting on the eitzim is going to come first. Why? It's a hechsher mitzvah. We said anything that has a hechsher mitzvah, it's to do the Torah comes first. I don't need these two words. What do I do with these two words? I use them for something else completely. So the Gemara said, this is what I'm going to use them for. Here, I made it mamish simple. Before we got all confused. We went through this part. This is the part we got confused. Very simple, actually. There's three things here. Hatavas chamesh neiros, hatavas shtei neiros. It's you're taking the 7 neiros and you're dividing them 5 and 2. What's going on over there? Somebody can see what's going on with him? He's taking off the garbage off the... Menachem, do me a favor. Go see what's going on. It needs help. I need them. Okay. Hatavas chamesh neiros and hatavas shtei neiros, and in between we have dam hatamid. Why? So the Gemara explains as follows: we take these 2 baboikers and we split them up. We give one of them to hatavas chamesh neiros. So now we have a total of 3. If you want to see, here's the pasuk, and this is important. This pasuk. Victor Aaron Ktoyer Sam Baboiker Beitivis Haneiros. You see the second part of the pasuk? It says Beitivis Haneiros. Baboiker goes. So this is important just to understand. So this is what confused me yesterday. That the Baboiker could go on this part of the pasuk and on this part of the pasuk. We're using it for the second part of the pasuk, which is Atavas Neiros. Cleaning out the menorah. Now, how many neiros are there? It's fine. It's fine. Oh, you mean because you're not going to get this? We're not doing the Marachik Dana today. You can do it. It's fine. Shkoyach. Beautiful. To me, this way. So put it over here. It was yesterday over here. Put it by this line. Menachem Ateh just gave me the Shah. He's the official other Maggid Shir. Okay, so now we have a baboiker that we're using for Hatavas Neiros. Hatavas Neiros is all 7. We divided it to 5 and 2. Everybody's paying attention to you. Shall I wait? It's more interesting, I guess. There's a fire truck outside. You can watch this or you can watch this. What are you going to watch? See here what's going on? The Torah doesn't say 5 and 2. The Torah says Hatavas Neiros. Naftali, you're going to miss the whole thing here. This is it, right here. The Torah says 7. And for that is baboiker plus, you see it's in red. We're going to add 1 baboiker from over here. We're going to take a baboiker, a red one, add it to these 2 for a total of 3. 3 always wins. So yeah, we have Atavas Neiros with 3 baboikers. It's going to come before this right over here. This is 1 Nebuch baboiker. Yes, we're going to add another one over here, another green one, for a total of 2, but 3 comes before 2. This is the pasuk of Tamid. The famous pasuk is Boiker, right? It's our favorite pasuk for Daf Yomi. This teaches you to be consistent every single day. Okay, ayin in Charlie Harari's speech. Now, so we have like this. So just to clarify, it goes like this. Hatavas chamesh neiros has 3 baboikers. Dam Tamid has 2 baboikers. The problem is there's a tie. There's Dam Atomid and Atavas 2 neiros. They both have 2. Now let's stop for a second. Where does Atavas neiros have 2? I'm sorry, Atavas 2 neiros have 2. Where do you have that? Where in the Torah does it say it? So for that we have to go back to this pasuk. So we're klar over here. Baboiker. Because the pasuk doesn't differentiate between 5 and 2. All Atavas neiros gets 2 baboikers. We're going to give the 5 1 extra baboiker. So the 2 is left with the regular baboiker. You understand what I'm saying? This pasuk is split down the middle. Beitivas HaNeiros is all the neiros. All 7 are included in here. The pasuk doesn't talk about 5 and 2. But for the 5, we're going to give an extra baboiker. And for the 2, we're just going to leave it as is. And it remains with 2 baboikers. Okay, going back to the tie. So we have 2 baboikers for dam atamid, which was that's 1 plus this one, this green one over here, we stole from this pasuk of Eitzim. So dam atamid gets 2. And hatavas shtei neiros has 2, like we just explained, because in the pasuk it talks about only 2. So it's 2 against 2. Dam atamid wins. Why? It's a kapara. Great. Ask the Gemara Kasha, Rav Papa asks Abai, who told you? Great. You take these 2, these are both extra. Use them for something else completely. Down here. Use 1 more for Dishon. And this is where I got confused yesterday. Dishon is all the way on top over here. It's great. It is before. What's the problem? And then he says, take another one for Dam atamid. And then Hatavas Chamesh Neiros remains with 2. Right? Hatavas Chamesh Neiros and Hatavas Neiros only has 2. Baboiker, in this pasuk right over here, is always 2. If you don't add another one, you have 2. But once I'm using these psukim up already, so Hatavas Chamesh Neiros remains 2. So here it is. Hatavas Neiros is 2. Maybe it should say over here, yeah, Chamesh. Very good. Chamesh Neiros has 2 boikers. So it's all the way at the end. You're going to have 3 for Dishon, 2 for Dam Tamid, and 2 for Hatavas Chamesh Neiros. What comes first? Dishon is going to come first. What comes second? Dam Tamid. Why Dam Tamid? Kapara. And then Chamesh Neiros. Simplest mistake. I was like, why do I need a special 3rd one for Dishon? That's what I was asking on Friday. That's why I stopped shir. Because I didn't figure this out beforehand. It's very simple. Why do you need an extra one? It's already before. Look, Dishon comes before Hatavas Chamesh Neiros. The answer is because it won't remain like that. This only has 2. And if it remains 2, then Hatavas Neiros, everything's going to be Dam atamid will be before Dishon. So I need to take a 3rd one and put it on Dishon, make from 2 to 3, and then it will remain in its spot right over here. And then I'll make Dam Tamid equal to Hatavas Neiros. And when Dam Tamid is equal to Hatavas Neiros, it's before. So Rav Papa just asks, who told you this is the order? Hatava, Dam Tamid, Hatava. Maybe it should be Dishon, Dam Tamid, Hatava. That's it. Let's change the order. Based on what you're saying, who told you to take this pasuk and use Baboiker the way you want to use it? Let's use it for 2 other random things. Let's see inside. Omer Papa, Labaya, smack in middle of Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. Don't worry about it. It's a short daf today. By the way, if I forget to say, shir tomorrow night is at 12 a.m. Chatzois. Chatzois alayla. Last year, what? Right here. And there's going to be, Be'ezer Hashem, a repeat of that shir, whoever can't make it, on Matzah Yontif. So first we're going to do the regular daf on Matzah Yontif. Whoever wants to stick around, I'm just doing it to record for YouTube, for the Americans, whoever wants to watch on YouTube. Okay.
No regular daf. No more.
Oh. Good point. Matzah Yontif.
Matzah Yontif is Monday's daf. Tomorrow night is Monday.
Correcto. That's a beautiful ara, and keep it to that for today. Shkoyach, I like it. Nachman to the rescue. I thought I have to give 2 shiur. No, only 1. Great. Wow. What? Yeah. Why not? Regular time, 9:30. 9:30. You can't attend if you were here on Yontif itself. You can only attend if you weren't, because I can't see the same jokes twice, the same people. All right, Zokti Gemara. Omer Papa. Omer Papa Labai. You see, smack in the middle of the page. Who told you to take the boiker and do it the way you want to do it and put it for Hatavas Chamesh Neiros? Do it for Dam atamid. 1 for Dam atamid. And 1 for Mizbeach HaPnimi. You'll have 3 boikers for Dishon and 2 for Dam atamid. And therefore, Dam atamid should not come after the cleaning out of the 5 candles, but it should go before. But wait a minute, there's a tie. You see, 2 black boxes are a tie. The Dam atamid has 2, and the Shneineres has 2. So why should Dam before? Because mechaper adif. Says the Gemara, very simple. Mkain afsuke b'may mafsikis luhu. What is splitting up the Hatavas HaNeiros. You have 5 and 2. The 7 candles total. You want to make a break between the 5 and the 2. So Abba Shaul says, what's the break? Dama Tamid. Chachamim say, what's the break? The Ketores. But according to Abba Shaul, the Ketores comes after the candles, and you want to take the dam and put them before the candles. Now you're left with nothing to put in between the 5 and the 2. What are you going to put before? How are you going to make a hefsek? Now the Gemara says, who says you need a hefsek? Just stop, wait for 10 minutes, go out, go in, and that's your hefsek. Who says you have to do an avodah? Good kasha. Why do you split up the 5 and the 2? To make a lot of noise. Shapir. So it's very good. So make a lot of noise, walk out, walk back in. You don't have to do a special avodah. You don't have to do dama tamid in between. You don't have to do ketores in between. It says in the pasuk baboiker, it's literally 2 days. Make it 2 mornings. 5 is 1 morning, and another morning later on is another one. In other words, you have to really break it up. Michael and Meima. So Meila, we can say this. How are you going to break it up? And according to Rabbi Yochanan, you really need a good break. So it works out perfectly. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that's why Hatavas Chamash Neiros comes first, then Dam Atamid to break it up, then Hatavas Shtei Neiros. According to Rish Lakish, okay, whatever the pshat is according to Rish Lakish. Omer le Ravinu Ravashi, Hai baboiker the eitzim mimi yater. The whole Gemara is on the premise that this baboiker is extra. That what? Since Shnei Gzirei Eitzim is a hechsher mitzvah, it's for the Ketores. So I don't need to tell you that you have to do in the morning. Of course you have to do in the morning. So the 2 mornings are extra. Use it for Hatav Shnei Neiros, use it for Dam Tamid. Says the Gemara, Hai baboiker the eitzim mimi yater. It's not extra. Hai baboiker gufei. So this is a little tricky for a second. Shnei Gzirei Eitzim should come before the red one. It should be Marach Gdoila, then Shnei Gzirei Eitzim, and then the Marach Ketores. In other words, not like Abaye said. Abaye said it goes in this order. You do the Marach Gdoila. And Marach Tana, you put the piles of wood on the Mizbeach, the large one, smaller one for Ketores, and then comes Shnei Gzirei Eitzim. No. Maybe the Torah is saying, baboiker. You should do this before. First goes Marach Gdoila, great. But you should do this, baboiker the eitzim, baboiker. I'm telling you when to do it. Don't use the baboiker for something else. I'm telling you to do it before the Marach Shniya, not like Abaye says. Maybe that's goof of what the Torah is telling us. If you remember from yesterday, we had this pshat. We're not saying anything new here. It says in the pasuk Aleh 3 times to tell us that what? That there are 2 piles of wood already, ready to go. And the Torah is saying, Aleha, it should come after the second pile. So I already know that the Shnei Gzirei Eitzim comes after the second pile. Because of this word, Aleha. It comes on top of, after what? The second pile. There's 1 pile, 2 piles, then comes the Shnei Gzirei Eitzim, the 2 pieces of wood. That I already learned yesterday from Aleha. How could it be? The Gemara is saying, how could the Torah tell us, don't put it on the second pile if the second pile doesn't exist? Obviously, the second pile exists, and the Torah says, then you put it on. Says Gemara. Okay, now a simple question. Why do you do 5? Okay, we said you have to break up the 5 and the 2. Maybe you should do 2 and then 5. Who told you how to do it? It makes sense. You started a mitzvah, keep on going, do most of it. Okay, so you could really do 4. 4 is the roiv of 7, but you just go until you can't go anymore. So maybe you should do 6. So that's also very important to chap what's going on here. This pasuk, what is it going on? The 2 or the 5? It's going on all of them. The Torah doesn't talk about 2 and 5. That Chachamim came up with later on, that you have to break up 2 and 5. So the baboiker is going on the 2 as well. And the neiros, ha-neiros, is going on the 2 as well. And the Torah calls it neiros, plural. So I need at least 2. When I break up the neiros, I have to leave at least 2 for one group. and then give the rest to the first group. Why? Because you're starting a mitzvah, so you go with the whole mitzvah. Go as much as you can. How do I know? Now we're just going to keep on going and go through this whole list right over here and see what comes first according to Abaya, the way he was Masada the Maracha, according to Abishol. The cleaning out of the two candles, the two neiros, comes before Ketores. What do Chacham say? Chacham say that the two neiros the Ketores comes in between the 5 and the 2. That's how you break it up. But we're going according to Abishol. Domakro, Beitivo es haneiros, v'hadar yaktireno. It's right in here. I don't know if you need the pasuk, but it's here. Here. Beitivo es haneiros, clean out the candles, yaktireno. So Ketores comes afterwards. Uktores levarim, and then the Ketores comes before throwing the head of the animal and the rest of the Ivarim Atam Mizbeach, the Sanyo, Yukdam Dover Shenema Boy Ba'boiker Ba'boiker. Ketores, it says Ba'boiker Ba'boiker. L'Dover Shenema Boy Elo Boiker Echel Bilvad. The carbon Talmud. Esa Keves Echot Aseh Ba'boiker once. So 2 comes before 1, and Memela Ketores comes before the carbon Talmud. Now, Rashi asks 2 major questions here. Very simple pshat questions that we have to say. That's Rashi all the way in the bottom, 4 lines from Vim Toimar. Whoa! We just the Gemara is saying that carbon Talmud only has 1 biker. Where's that pasuk? The famous is biker. There's only 1. What happened to this? You already gave it 2. Here's a green guy that goes together with this green one, and there's 2. Why does the Gemara say there's only 1? Says Rashi. Tamid is broken into 2 pieces. There's 2 parts of it. There's the blood part, the shchita and the zrika, kabbalas adam and the zrika. That's 1. And the second part is the meat. Yes, Rashi, vim toimar, mechaper odif. But we're still talking about a carbon tamid. And a carbon tamid, we said, is a kapara. And a kapara has more power than ketores. Says Rashi, in kapara el badam. We just broke up the tamid into 2 parts. The part of dam is what gives the kapara. Throwing the blood on the mizbech gives the kapara. Not throwing the ivarim on the mizbech is what gives the kapara. Very important for pshat. Says the Gemara ivarim lemincha. And the limbs of the tamid that go on the mizbech come before the mincha. Right? Mincha is flour. Mincha. The sanya minayin shlei dova koydem the tamid shachar. How do you know that nothing goes on the maracha gdoila before the limbs? Okay, now we're holding what we're supposed to be holding. Wow. And we wanted to do all that, Mati, on Friday from 8:02 to 8:03. People use that in Shabbos, the whole Shabbos. Let's you say Kiddush Levana. I'll give you $1,000. Somebody came over to me. What? Oh, put it on. No, it's a short time. So since it says ha'oila, the one, it could have said oila without a hey. This hey idea, this is it. It's the first. V'amarava ha'oila hi oila rishayna. Very interesting. Somebody asked Ramosha Feinstein. See if you could see from this pasuk. Ha'oila hi oila rishayna. We learn from here that the carbon tamid is first thing in the morning. Or different things come first. They varim before mincha. So somebody asked Ramosha Feinstein. He came late to Shul on Shabbos. He came for Kiddush, but unfortunately they started Musaf. He didn't chap. He was hoping it would be a little later, and he didn't daven Shachris yet. What should he do? Should he daven Shachris by himself, and therefore he'll miss Musaf, and he'll daven Shachris and Musaf all by himself, or he should daven Musaf with the whole tzibur? And then later on, it's not even Zman Tefillah yet. So after he davens Musaf with the whole tzibur, he'll daven Shachris. What do you guys say? What should he do? Should daven Shachris while they daven Musaf? That's not Betzibur. They're davening Musaf. Okay, but what should he do? He should daven Shmones Esrei Shachris or Shmones Esrei Musaf. Which one? He has one option. Tadr. Yeah, minyan is a factor. So he said that based on these Gemaras that the Shachris was based on the carbon tamid. And because the carbon tamid, the Shachris, it comes first. Yeah, you should daven Shachris b'yichidus and not daven Musaf b'tzibur. That's what he said. Okay, he actually did, I think, talk about Tadr or not. Okay, Zog the Gemara. Yeah, and it's relevant. We're talking about an early minyan because it was before Zman Kriyash Man, before Zman Tefillah. It said in the Shayla. We're not talking about mincha here. We're talking about carbon mincha, a mincha. Mincha la chavitin. The mincha, the carbon mincha, comes before the chavitin. Chavitin, you remember what chavitin is? The Kohen Gadol brings his own carbon every single day, and the mincha comes before the chavitin. Why? Oila u mincha. Oila u mincha. So there's no break between the tamid and the mincha. You shouldn't insert anything between oila u mincha because that's what the pasuk says. V'chavitin l'nesachim shum mincha. Why does chavitin come? This is interesting. The nesachim is actually part of the mincha, but the chavitin is shum mincha. It's flour. So you do the mincha and then you do the Kohen Gadol's mincha, and then you do the wine that belongs to the original mincha. Unesachim lemusafim, and the wine comes before Musaf on Shabbos. Why? Because the pasuk says zevach unesachim, so you cannot break up the carbon with the wine. Umusafim levazichim, and the carbon musaf comes before the 2 spoons of frankincense, a little Bryna. But we have a kasha. Bazichim koydem lemusafim. No. The Levina comes before Musaf. Tanai, you're right. It's Machlokes Tanai. That's why I put it in the list as Abaya. I said it comes first. Why? Where is it? Musafin, and then comes Bezichin all the way down here. Musaf first. Why? It makes sense as Abaya. We always said the entire time that the word baboiker means do it early. Listen to this. Hachanami. Biyoim la'acher, biyoim HaShabbos, twice biyoim. Yarchel Hashem talking about the shulchan. What does biyoim mean? It's very different than baboiker. Biyoim means in the day, in the middle of the day. So the Torah is saying, just like baboiker means really, really early, biyoim means really, really late. Do it as late as possible. My time in the Omer, so it's great. He has a great raya from the pasuk. Biyoy means late. So why are you telling me that the bezichin should be before Musaf, like Abai? Gomar chuka mechavitin. Here we go. It says by chavitin chok oilam lashem kolel toktor, and it says by bezichin chok oilam, the same words chok oilam. So it's a gzeir shava. Imahosam. So if you're learning. Bazichin comes before Musaf from Chavitin. Chavitin, it comes before Musaf. Here, you see? Chavitin is over here. We already said Mincha and Chavitin and Yain. This is the Kohen Gadol. Chavitin comes before Musaf. So too, Bazichin, where we? Why is it? My time in the man. Okay, the man that says Bazichin comes before Musaf, not like Abaya. Because he learns from Chavitin, just like Chavitin comes before Musaf, so the Bezichin comes before Musaf. Says Gemara, so learn everything and say that it should be Bezichin should be even before Yain. Right over here, like Chavitin's before Yain, Bezichin should be before Yain. Learn the whole thing. Okay, but the pasuk does say that it has to be late. He takes a little bit from that pasuk. He's not going to learn the whole thing, but it does say biyayim. It should be late. So it's going to be later than Yain. Okay. Now we're going back to our Mishnah. This whole Abai was because of our Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah that Ketores in the morning comes between the blood and the Eivarim. Says the Gemara, Mani. Who does this go according to? Again, so we have Machlokes between Chacham and Abishol, and Abai goes according to Abishol. The what? In between 5 and 2, right over here. According to Abishol, you stop, you clean, you get to here. You bring the Tamid, and then you continue. And according to Chacham, you go, you stop, and you bring Ketairis. So that Machloikis, says the Gemara, how do these words fit into that Machloikis? Ketairis Shashacha, it's a Kreva. When do you do Ketairis? Between the blood and the Ivarim. According to Chachamim, it's in the middle of the menorah. The Gemara says a little different, uses a different lashon, but that's what the Gemara means. Ira banon ben dam l'neiros mebayile. Rashi explains it beautifully. Between the avoida of dam and the avoida of neiros. In other words, the end of the neiros, dam is at one place, all the way in the beginning. Neiros, the end of neiros is all the way in the end. Ketara should be in the middle somewhere. According to Chum, the Refuah asks, okay, so the Gemara should have said a little nicer. It should be between the 5 and the 2, according to Chacham. The Gemara says it differently, but it means the same thing. Between the blood services and the menorah services, somewhere in between, over there, that's where they put the Ketairis. Not between Dam and Avarim. Avarim is further down the line. Avarim is too far out. It should say between the menorah and the Dam. Says the Gemara, and Abashol, it's after the Neiros. According to Abashol, where's Ketairis? Ketairis comes after all the Neiros. So it should be between Neiros and Evar. Says Gemara, it goes according to Rabbanan. We're like a Mari. We're like duck. We're not interested in the exact order. Our Mishnah says the Ketairis of the evening was brought between the Ivarim of the Tamid and the Nesachim. Benanimili. Omer B'yechon Kim minchas ha'boiker uchiniskoy tas. Like the mincha of the boiker, like the morning mincha. Ma minchas ha'boiker Ketairis kodemes l'nesachim. Just like in the morning, the Ketairis comes before the wine. Avkan Ketairis kodemes l'nesachim. Imal alon Ketairis kodemes le'ivarim. So learn everything completely like that. The morning, Ketairis comes before the Tamid, Eivarim on the Mizbeach, Avkan Ketairis Kedemis Leivarim. Maybe over here also, in the afternoon. Says the Gemara, Miksiv Ke'evrei Habayker, Ke'minchas Habayker Ksiv. Like the Mincha, all we compare to the morning is the Mincha part of the morning, but not the whole thing, not the Eivarim. Ke'minchas Habayker, Veloi Ke'evrei Habayker. Torah Rabbana. V'niska Revi'as Hahin. Everybody knows these psukim, but it's geschmack to see it inside. I hope this is not too confusing. It says like this. I did it in blue. Why? Because that's the biker one. That's the first one. Then the same pasuk in black. I couldn't fit it in. It's in the evening. So you have the first one and the second one. The morning and the evening. That's pasuk Daled. Now, Pasuk Zayin says, "B'niskoi revi'is ahin." The nesachim, the wine that you bring with it, should be a revi'is. With what? V'niskoi. It could either be the biker one, or the Ben Arbayim one. What would you say if you were a Tana learning the Gemara, learning this pasuk? Which one? No, it can only be one. Tzaddik. V'niskoi. It. The nesach of it. Which one is it? No. Simple svara. I'm not going to trip you up here. What? Ben Arbayim. Ben Arbayim, because that's the last one. It says biker, then it says Ben Arbayim. V'niskoi. It. The last one we were just talking about. We were talking about the end of Pasuk Daled is it's a kevsa sheni. So kevsa sheni. Great. Torah Abanon. V'niskoi v'sayin. Yilmat shel shachris mishel arvis. So how do I know the morning needs wine? From the afternoon one, because the afternoon already the Torah says v'niskor v'sahin. It's talking about the afternoon one l'chayra. And Memela, how do I know the morning one? I know it from the evening. We just turn to Daf Yomi Amud Beis. A shidduch fest Devora bas lei gittel and Devora bas Sarah Suri and Leil Nishmas, the Meron victims, and Refuah Shleima for the Meron victims, and what? And an achama for the families. And then it says over here, the MDY Chabura is truly one big family. That's also part of it? It's added? Extra $1,000 to say that. The MDY Chabura is truly one big family. You want to pay $1,000 for that? Is it Kedai? If not, cutting it out. Rebbe Omer, Arvis Mishal Shachris. Not true. I know Shachris needs a revius. And how do I know that the Arvis one needs it? From Shachris. Says the Gemara, Bishleim Rabbanon Haibet Tamid Shel Bein Arbaim Ksiv. According to Rabbanon, it makes a lot of sense. Look, it says V'niskoi, and it goes on to the afternoon. So we know afternoon. So I have to learn the morning from afternoon. But why say Fakert? El Rei Taima. Says the Gemara, Omer Avarul Omer Kro, La Keves Echad. Eze Keves Shenemer Boy Echad? Have Omer Ze Tamid Shel Shachar. Here we go. See? La Keves Echad. In green. Ho Echad. What's a Ho Echad? Matches Echad on top over here. So Memela, the Veniskoi Revisahin is going on the morning. So now I don't know anything about the afternoon. So I have to learn the afternoon from the morning. Not like you said that I learned the morning from the afternoon. But it says Echad. So what are they going to do with it? Miyuchad Sheba'edroi. Rabbi said when you bring a korban tamid to Hashem, don't just grab any sheep. Okay, so it doesn't have a mum. That's not enough. Look, the best one, the fattest, most gishmaka one, that's the one you bring. Takadosh Baruch Hu. V'Rebbe umifchar nidorecha. It says from the choicest ones, nafka. V'Rabbanan chad b'choiva v'chad b'nedava. One is that you're obligated to bring, and one you're bringing Hashem and a dava. Utzrichi. There's reason to believe both ways. I bring in a dava, bring the best of the best, the choices. Kain and Hevel, you bring something geshmak. Don't just. Or no, if you're bringing a chayva, maybe that's what should be the best. So Reb Nachum per Chavet says, my father learned by him, by Reb Nachum. He was the Rosh Yeshiva in the Mir. So he says, you would think, he asked a question. The famous Noach got hit by the lion, right? Lion made him crippled for life. He didn't bring him the food on time. Lion got mad, gave him a zetz. Question is, why did the lion get mad? So Noach is a nice guy. He's working hard. He's working overtime. He's not getting paid for this. He's doing chesed. The lion should be respectful. Karsa time. The guy's doing chesed. Every day he fed you on time. So one time, what's your problem? Chill out. So he says a big yesod in life. I think it's a big yesod. That you could say like Hatzalah guys. Imagine you're the only Hatzalah guy in town. So you could say, I don't have to go on the call. I'm doing a guy a favor. I don't have to. No, you have to go on the call. You're getting tremendous schar. But if you're the only guy in town, you don't have a right to say, I'm doing a favor. It's an adava. There's an afkamina between an adava and a chayva. Gemara says chayva. When you're the only game in town, then it flips. All of a sudden, you are mechuyev to go on a call. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. You have to go. You'll get a tremendous schar. I'm not taking that away from you. And what does it negate to us? Negate to us tremendous. Sometimes you're the only person in town. In other words, with your spouse, who could compliment your spouse? Only you. You don't want your neighbor complimenting your spouse. You have to. Who's going to compliment your children? You. I'm talking to myself, actually. So when you're the only person, so it's not a chesed. I'm doing her a favor, I'm giving her a compliment. No, you're mechuyev to. All of a sudden, it takes another, you have to look at it differently now. When you're the only person available for that job, then it becomes a chayva, and when it's a chayva, and you don't do it, you deserve a whack from the lion. The lion does have to knock your foot out. Because don't say, I'm doing chesed. You're not doing chesed. You're the only one. It's your obligation. Big yesod. Im haya kain gadol zokin oy istenis. We learned in the Mishnah, Tanya Rabbi Yehudith. That's it. Okay, we're done with all these limudim for now. Tanya Rabbi Yehudith. I showed you the wrong picture in the Mishnah. The Mishnah should have been, the kain gadol is old, he's very particular about the temperature of the mikvah, so we heat up hot water before Yontif, and on Yontif we pour it in. The Gemara says, no, there's another way to do it also. Here it is, massive pieces of metal. You heat these up before Yontif, and then you toss it into the mikvah, great. You put it into the cold water. Again, these mikvahs were from natural springs, very cold. Yerushalayim springs, terrible cold. So you got to get a little bit off the top. As the Gemara, when you take a piece of metal, a hot piece of metal, boiling hot metal, you put it in water, it's going to harden it. It's also Omer it's sitting on the coals, it's shvachamaisis, these coals, how much? It's going to be heated up. It's not to the point where if you put it into cold water afterwards, it's going to harden up. It's not going to harden up. It's a big sugya. I don't have in mind the famous, here, this is the picture that we're using throughout Masechta Shabbos. Davar she'enim miskaven. I'm trying to bring my bench from point A to point B, and in doing so, I might make some sort of groove in the ground. That's okay, because I'm not having any intent to make the groove. If I have intent to make a groove, it's also in Shabbos, Chayrish, whatever. But you don't want to do this. This just happens by itself. Now, there's a concept called psik reisha. By the way, I forgot to mention something very exciting. Daf Yomi Amud Beis in Masechtas Yoma has the longest taisus in Shas. Here it is. Take a look. It goes all the way to Daf Yomi Amud Aleph, almost on the bottom. It's the longest taisus in Shas. And any kind, what? We're doing it inside after Shir Bezer Hashem. Shavuos night. Shavuos night all the way into Shavuos afternoon. Starts at 12, ends at 12. 12-hour taisus. So, the taisus, the different discussions about psik reisha. Psik reisha means that it's inevitable. It's going to happen. If 1,000% is going to happen, then it's also, even if it's yinam mechaven. We're talking about a situation that it's possible it will, possible it won't. The same thing over here. It's not 100% the psik reisha because maybe it won't harden, maybe it's different metal, maybe this, different things that Tosfos talks about. Does Abai even hold of this whole idea of Dav Shem Miskaven? When you're performing a bris milah, you cut the basar. The halacha is this is the right to take off a tzaras. You have a neged tzaras. You're embarrassed to go to the shul like that. Everybody's going to know you spoke Lashon Hara. So you take a knife, chop, asur. So what about if the baby has a beheres, a tzaras, right there on the milah? You have to do the milah, you cut it off. Divir b'Yeshaya. Why not even in the pasuk? It's pashat. V'amar Bailer Rabbi Yehuda Omer Dav Shem Miskaven asur. Okay, so the answer is says Abaya goes according to Rabbi Yehuda. It says Dav Shem Miskaven asur, right? Famous machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Shimon. So mainly you see over here that Abaya holds that this is possible. Dav Shem Miskaven is asur. Why are you telling me that according to Abaya Dav Shem Miskaven mutar? Says the Gemara Nemilu B'Chol HaTorah Kula. That's a typical case. Aval hacha tziruf derabbananu. Over here, if you look at the picture, they did a very nice job. They took a flat piece of metal. It's not a kli, so there's no tziruf. There's only isur derabbanan if it's just a flat piece of metal. And memela, it doesn't bother us. Says the Mishnah, Heviyu lebeisa parva. So now we're holding over here, this part right over here, where the swimming pool is. You know, Avi, you're doing a better job than Gary. I think you should start. He's good. All of a sudden, there's no issues with the remote. I don't know if you noticed. Like, oh, the remote, this. It's like he's spacing out. He's doing some WhatsApp over there. Okay, so we're talking about his second tefillah. He's going to jump on. So he's not listening. Probably. Okay, great. What? Oh, Seltzer's doing it. That's why. Okay, but on Sunday, Seltzer can't do it. It has to be only okay. Beis Parva stuck in Kodesh. We're talking about the second tefillah. The first tefillah we said is in Chayil. Uba Kodesh Oisa Persu Sadin Shel Butz. I don't need to show you the picture. You already have it in your mind. How they lifted up a white linen sheet in order to prevent people from seeing him go to the mikvah. And it's butz. Why is it butz? Why is it linen? Why is it white? To remind him that he's doing the avodah. Now, Kiddush Yodav V'Raglav Upasha. We said that for every tefillah, you need to do Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim twice. So it says over here that he walks in there and he does Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim. It's almost meduik from the Mishnah. I'm thinking about it now. Really, Beis HaParva, where does he do the Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim? In the Beis HaParva. We're talking that he has to, this, that. Of course. He's not wearing any clothing. He's not going to stand here in the middle of the Azara, do Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim. So he goes over here. They put up a sheet, and he does Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim over there. Now, afterwards, the Mishnah says, Upashat. Then he becomes unclothed. This is the Omer that we had earlier. Pashat, first he becomes unclothed. Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim, he does it completely without clothing, according to Omer. Yorad v'Taval. So once he did Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim 1, then he goes and he does Tefillah, the second Tefillah. Olav and his tapeg, he comes up and he dries himself off with the towel. He big they love on. Then they bring him the white clothing. Oh, let's see if I have it. I don't know if I have it. What does it say? It'll cover the MDY family, right? Team. Sorry, you guys are not involved. You. The official Mishnah, sponsored by Anonymous. L'kaved the MDY team. And now we have he's always been on the team, Nechemia Seltzer, but he's doing a phenomenal job on the remote, on the Zoom for YouTube. If you're enjoying it and you appreciate the way he's doing it more than Gary, please let us know and we'll fire Gary immediately. Nechemia did all the sphere reminders. So if this is your first year like mine almost, and you enjoyed the reminder of Sphira, then you have Nechemia Seltzer to thank. He did it. He does graphics for us a lot. He's a gewaldige guy. Heavy thumbnails, v'chulu v'chulu. Heavy the Beis HaParva. I'm going to start over for Fishel. He undressed and then he did the Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim. Now we're holding by the second tefillah. He goes into the mikvah, all of it is tapping, he dries himself over the towel. Big they love, and then they bring him the white clothing. And this is the second time he does Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim after he dresses himself. Remember, we learned, and a machlokes a little bit, the second Kiddush Yadayim is when he's clothed, according to everybody. We had one sheet and not like that. In the morning, he would wear this. The clothing was made from pilusin. It's the name of a place. Is the best of the best. Shel shneim asar mana. Now, a mana is equal 100 zuz. Think about it. How much is a ksuba? 200 zuz. This is worth 1,200. So how many years could a person sustain himself off of this piece of clothing? Again, a woman gets a ksuba, she gets food for a whole year. A whole year, she can support herself for 200 zuz. This is 1,200 zuz. You could support yourself for 6 years. 6 years. I'm just giving you an idea of how expensive this piece of clothing. Think about it also. How much is this worth in the time of Beis HaMikdash? This suit that you're wearing, $1 million. They couldn't even produce this for $1 million. They could, maybe. You'll see. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it that thin, that perfect, that today with machinery, $50 you buy a suit. So it costs 1,200 zuz, a crazy amount of money for his clothing. Because it's from Pilusin. Ben Arbayim, Hinduyan. It almost sounds like Hindu. But Rashi says Kush. So it's a Shayla, it's Hindu, Kush. Kush means Ethiopia, Africa. Shashmaina Meyai Zuz. Not that expensive, only worth 800 zuz. Also, 4 years worth, not bad. Dire Meir. 9 years worth of food. And the evening was 6 years worth. Hakol shloishim mana. Everything together was 30. Eilu mishel tzibur. And who paid for it? From the Machzah Shekel. It was bought from the communal funds. If the Kohen, we're going to see tomorrow, if the Kohen wants to make a nicer, better one, Moisiv misheloi. He could add a little bit from his own money, have a good Voch, a wonderful week, a good Yontif, if I don't see you. What? He's not a guest anymore. This is his third time here. What are you talking about? But this time he came from Yerushalayim. What do you do if a missile goes flying by? You have to lay down on the ground. You have to dump your... A vadil. I said no. I said Gideon for those who I'm not going to see. Of course, this is shir tomorrow. I hear Zakeva is not in front of mitzvahs. Carbon no, this no, the best of the best. I hear. Look into it. I'm a balabos. What do you want from me? I just give over the daf, right, Leiby? The Talmid Chacham Koil teach me it, and I just give it over. Which one? Yeah. No, that was the only one. This is the only one. You're in the bungalow colony. It's the only minion. Yeah. Every kasha, you just have to fit it into the right thing. What if? It's all what if. Don't be like my wife. How did he jump off the roof and land on the knife? What if? It's all what the whole shas is what if. But you never heard of such a thing that you're all by yourself, you're in a zimmer, and you schluft gishmak, and then there's only 10 guys. Of course. Not the 6:30 minion, the 7:30, whenever the guys decide to daven, but that is the only minion. Why not? Okay. Not the Chazanishniks that go to the zimmer. If you're a Chazanishnik, you go to the zimmer, and a bunch of tzaddikim like my father, what, they're going to daven? They're daven v'sikin, and that's it. This is the only minion in town. It happens. It happens.